I would like to invite the second speaker for the day, Dr. Supap Rawat. Dr. Subhak Rawat has completed his Doctor of Dental Surgery degree from Chiang Mai University. He graduated with a bachelor's degree from Sukhothai Thammaithirath Open University, including B.Ed, Bachelor of Public Health Administration, Bachelor of Information and Technology, Bachelor of Art Thai Studies, Bachelor of Art Animation, Animal Production and Management, Certificate in English for specific career. He has held 2 Masters of Science, one in Oral Medicine from Mahidol University and another in Management from Assumption University, Thailand. He has a Doctor of Philosophy in Education Administration from Sukhothai Thammaithirath Open University since 2011. He started as an instructor in dentistry at a private university in Thailand 10 years ago, but shifted to be an instructor in education at Bangkok Thonburi University, Thailand from 2011 till now. He is also a GBA researcher from Mahipal Global Next University, Malaysia since 2020, got CEFR Level 5 certificate from Arya Business College, Singapore in 2022, and an adjunct professor and researcher at Asia University, Malaysia since April 2022. I welcome you, sir. Looking forward to hearing from you. Over to you, sir.
Hi, Doctor. Can you see my slide?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. Okay.
Have you shared it, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
And,
it's visible now.
can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me for this webinar about the research based teaching in higher education. About my topic, quantitative research in education. And this is my name, Supapawasiri Pipathanakul, or anyone can call me Dr. Aki. Anyone can see my biography at ORCID ResearchGate, LinkedIn, or Scholar, Google Scholar. For about the education, quantitative method in education, the last few decades, educational practice has changed regarding how ICT and learning are delivered and processed. And quantitative education research provide numerical data that can prove and disprove of a theory, and administrator can easily share the quantitative finding with other academics and researchers. When a student would like to start the topic, I suggest you define the problem. To identify the industry, identify the topic, and identify the problem statement. The second step, you can choose the research design, the quantitative research, qualitative research, or mixed method. And then you have to review the literature. You have to review the industry, review the problem, and review the previous study, because you have to create the hypothesis, and you have to create the instrumentation with the conceptual framework, and you have to create the measurement or the questionnaire of the construct. After that, you have to do the sampling. The sampling, you have to choose the population, and you have to determine the sample size, and you have to choose the sampling technique. The next step is data collection. The data collection is for the quantitative, usually use the self-administered questionnaire, both printed or online questionnaire, online survey questionnaire. And the last step is data analysis. The data analysis, you can use the descriptive statistics or inferential statistics. This is the research process. When you choose the sampling techniques, you can choose probability sampling or non-probability sampling. The example of probability is the simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. And when you choose the non-probability sampling, the example is a quota sampling, purposive sampling, and snowball sampling. When you determine the sample size or number of the sample, when you don't know the number, it means that you choose the unknown population. For example of the formula, uh, to, to determine the sample size, the formula is the P, the formula is you can see the 1.96 is the C value. C square multiplied with P and Q and divided with P value. And the number of sample size for unknown population is 384.16. And when you choose for the known number population, you have to choose the formula of the Cressy and Morgan in 1970. This formula is shown in this figure. And the example of the population is 3,584 cases. And X or C score is 1.96 and X square, or you can use the C square is the same, 3.8416, and P value set at 0.5, and E is the error set at 0.05. And the sample size from the Cressy and Morgan is about 348.524. Or when you choose the known population, you can select for the number of population, use the Cressy and Morgan in this table. The advantage of the quantitative design is shown in the table. When you choose the quantitative survey study, it means that you can test the reliability. The reliability is the consistency of the quantitative design. And the researcher can use the combat alpha to test the reliability. And the combat alpha is usually set at higher than 0.7, is acceptable for reliable. The advantage of the quantitative is fast, short time. You can use the employ the administer survey. The survey is mean that you have to test or send the questionnaire to the respondent. You can send to the respondent to a large number of participants, and self-administer is mean that the participant have the responsibility to read the questionnaire and answer by themselves without the assistant. And when you use the quantitative, it means that you have to use the Likert rating scale from the 5 to 1. The 5 score is strongly agree, and 1 is mean that strongly disagree. The advantage of the survey questionnaire is ineffective when you choose both a printed or a write questionnaire. But during the COVID-19, you employ the online survey is the very good choice because no contact and distance when you collect the data, you don't send the printed questionnaire and can contaminate for the infection. And the online uh, questionnaire is efficient. The printed questionnaire worth for the cost, and the online questionnaire is very nice because it's no cost. When you use the test for the descriptive statistics, it means that you have to use the um, test the mean standard deviation. But if you choose to use the inferential statistic, you can choose the Pearson simple linear regression, multiple regression, or structural equation model, or SEM. When you use the chi-square, it means that you have to test the difference in number of frequency. But when you use the t-test, it means that you want to test the difference of the mean between two groups. And when you use ANOVA, it means that you want to test the mean difference in more than two groups. But if you use Pearson, it means that you want to test the correlation between bivariate analysis. And if you use the simple linear regression, it means that you use only one predictor to test the outcome variable for bivariate analysis. But when you use a multiple linear regression or MLR, you have to test for many factors to predict the outcome in multivariate analysis. But when you use the SEM or structural equation model, it means that you want to test the direct effect or indirect effect or mediator in the model. But when you want to use the exploratory factor analysis or confirmatory factor analysis, mean that you want to test the validity of the construct. The good good statistical significance of the questionnaire for the quantitative, you can test the confidence level at 95% and the error set at 0.5. And when you want to test the significance, it means that you can use only the quantitative research, because the qualitative research cannot test for significance of the statistic, and you cannot accept or reject of the hypothesis with the qualitative study. The example of the sampling in this case about the non-probability sampling, for example, purposive sampling, quota sampling, and convenience sampling. But a quantitative design have a disadvantage, because when you conduct for the quantitative research or design, is no participant between the human or the distributor or the respondent, because the cell administer the respondent have the responsibility to read and answer by themselves without assistance. And when you choose the quantitative design, you have to find the definition. Sometimes it's hard to find the definition, especially when it's hard to find the original question. You have to ask for the expert for test the validity or content validity of your questionnaire. The cost of the printed questionnaire, for sure, is have the cost for the printed questionnaire. But if you choose the online survey, it's no cost. And during the COVID-19, many studies use the online survey for this situation. And for a quantitative design is inflexible because when you start to collect the data, it means that you cannot change for the question. And when you dispute the questionnaire, it could be biased if the respondent uh, uh, score the questionnaire only for 5. It can could be considered as the bias. This is the example for applying UTAUT to explain factors affecting English learning, intention with Netflix English subtitle version among Thai people. These study apply the UTAUT model. It are the factors to predict intention to use the uh, intention to use the Netflix among Thai people. The example of the conceptual framework, you have to find the factors, the mediator, or the outcome. In this study, apply UTAUT model. The UTAUT model comprised of performance expectancy, effort expectancy, facilitating condition, and social influence. It means that you have to define or give the definition of the performance expectation, effort expectation, facilitating condition, and social influence. And this model of framework consider user satisfaction is the mediator, and the outcome is the intention to use the Netflix among Thai people. When you start for the descriptive statistic, it means that the sample size should be over 384 as the formulation. When you classify the gender, region, age, and status, something like this. For the region, if you not classify the region, is uh, you can dispute for the convenience sampling. But when you classify for the region, the northern, eastern, northeastern, central, southern, and western of Thailand is similar to the stratified sampling and convenience sampling at the same time. For the age, I suggest to start the respondent who over 18 years old because you have not asked for permission uh, for the parents of the respondents and for the status single and married. For education, most respondents are bachelor degree because the bachelor degree uh, uh, interest in the using of the Netflix for learning in English program. And the occupation, you can see the student are the most respondent and the income correspond for the student. For the PLS-SEM result, you can see the factor loadings set at 0.7. If is over 0.7, it means that the questionnaire, the item questionnaire is the high varied and set the combat alpha at 0.7. If over 0.7, it means that the item is high reliability and AVE is set at over 0.5. When you modify the question, you have to find the original question and you have to modify the question so like this table. The facilitating condition is mean about the internet and the device that can necessarily to use the Netflix, and the social influence is about the people who are affected their learning through Netflix. And when you choose the user satisfaction is the mediator, you have to find the original question and you have to modify the question like this table. And also English learning intention, you have to find the original question and modify the question like this table. The R square mean the explanation of the phenomenon of the model. 0.80 is mean that the user satisfaction could be the mediator about 80.59%. And English learning intention via Netflix can be explained by about 80.9%. And this table is about the effect and overview. Finally, when you test with the PLS structural equation model or PLS SEM, you can see the model like this. On the left is the predictor, performance expectancy, effort, expectancy, facilitating condition, and social influence. You can see that facilitating influence had the highest influence on user satisfaction, followed by effort expectancy and performance expectancy. And the user satisfaction can predict the English learning intention via Netflix by the through the factors and social influence. The summary of the hypothesis in this study have the 6 hypotheses. All hypotheses are accepted, and the overall explanation power equal 80.9%. Another study is the relationship between 21st century learning model of 4C and student satisfaction and student performance and effectiveness. You can see the conceptual framework. In this model, student satisfaction could be considered as the mediator, and the factor is the 21st century learning model of 4C, comprised of the communication, creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration, the IV. And the DV or dependent variable is the student performance and effectiveness. You can see creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. Significance influence student satisfaction, but communication has the highest influence on student satisfaction, followed by critical thinking and creativity and collaboration. When direct effect, only creativity, collaboration, and communication have the direct effect to performance and effectiveness. The R square of the mediator of student satisfaction can explain by about 69.8, and the outcome performance effectiveness can be explained by 75.6. And this the summary of the hypothesis testing. Not all the hypotheses or accept the hypothesis, only the hypothesis 4 was rejected. And thank you for collaboration of the this webinar.